Hey, look at that. Well, hi. Long time no see. This is Kingdomchaun here, in case you guys haven't noticed. Or, okay, it's been a while. There we go. Well, hi. Long time no see. It's been a while. Welcome, guys. This is Kingdomchaun here, and I am so sorry for the delay in videos, the lack of videos. I have been wanting to do videos like forever, and I've been wanting to be consistent, and I've been wanting to do so many things. But unfortunately, some things have happened, some major life events, and I would like to go ahead and talk about it. I don't know where to really begin, um, but I will have you know that during this video, I may break down and I may cry, and I'm sorry in advance, and I hope you can forgive me for that. Like I said, a lot has happened, but I'm hoping that this will be the only time I make this video, at least in a good while. I'm hoping that this year will um, be going up, going forward. But I guess let's just start from the beginning and let's see kind of uh, where and how much I want to kind of explain. The last video that I uploaded, I think it was around September or October. And as you know, if I've told you already, if I haven't told you, I'm telling you now. Back in August of on the 27th of August of last year, I was involved in a car accident. Well, that's kind of the beginning where things just kind of went downhill from there. Things prior to that, it was kind of just like a up and downhill. The beginning of the year was kind of the start of a very long year last year. I think around February or March, my dad had surgery in his arm. Shortly before that, he had a heart attack, and they were telling my dad that he wasn't allowed to have the surgery that he needed to have on his arm um, until a certain time has passed. Well, it was kind of getting down to the wire, and they didn't have any choice but to do surgery on his arm, or he would lose his arm. And so he did the surgery. Thankfully, everything went okay. But he was going through intensive care and through um, a lot of he had to go to a lot of medical appointments and work on his arm. I can't think about what the actual terminology for that is. I, it's just something during recovery you go through all this the procedures. But several months have passed, and he was able to get full, well, not full, but a good portion of his arm to be able to use it, not to the fullest, but he was able to get functioning of his arm again. Um, and then after that, basically from the start of spring, which was like one of my starting points of my favorite year, I started getting sick consistently throughout the entire year after 4 or 5 years of not being sick. Last year it was just nothing but being sick, and then recovery, and then my dad getting sick, and then recovery, and then I'm getting sick again. It's just constant battle of being sick consistently. It was ridiculous. Um, it was just a regular sickness, and then my dad got COVID because of some dumb woman. It was me getting sick from some common sickness, and then I got slightly better for a couple of days, and then my dad got COVID because of some person um, saying, "Hey, can you come help me out?" And then all of a sudden they said, "Oh, wait, I should tell you, I got COVID." After being in contact with him, it's just like, oh my gosh. And then because he got COVID, he was getting close to death, and so I had to rush him to the hospital, and there he recovered, but he was still sick for a very long time. I got COVID, but I wasn't as severe as him. It was more like a minor COVID type thing, and it just wasn't as bad as him because I'm younger and immune system's still quite good, better, I guess, than his. Obviously, because he's like 65 years old, and so his immune system isn't all that great. And then after that, following that, for like an entire month of being sick or longer, I was involved in a car accident. Um, and the car accident, it totaled my car, so I didn't have a car, and I had to get a rental. And then from that point on, I had a rental up until this month, January. But I was paying thousands of dollars each and every month to keep the rental. After the first month of the rental being covered by insurance, but they said they wouldn't pay for the rental anymore, so I had to pay for it out of pocket. I acquired an attorney, and the attorney said, "Oh yeah, we can definitely help you." So I had to go through intensive medical care and through procedures and recovery and all kinds of stuff to make sure that I was getting better and to a point where I was at prior to the accident. Um, it was just a slew of things. And then all while that was going on, I had to make sure that I was going to school to acquire a license that I currently got on December 20th. So I was able to acquire my CDL license, which is a Class A. In case you don't know what a CDL license is, or different forms of CDLs. Basically, Class A is the highest you can get. It allows you to drive semi trucks, buses, basically any vehicle, except for motorbikes. But you can drive anything else, provided that you have the endorsements for it, which I was getting on top of all that. So thankfully, I did get my CDL license on the 20th. Um, and I thought, hey, life is looking up, things are getting better. What's it can't get any worse. Me getting my CDL was like the last thing towards the end of the year that was like, oh hey, finally life is um, looking up. And all of a sudden, this year hits the first of the month. Um, in case you guys don't know, I'm in a different environment. You don't see it because I have a background here and stuff like that. But I'm currently in a hotel. But where I was at before that, I was in a fifth wheel, and where we were living at the time. We were living on a RV park where my father was working. He was the maintenance manager there, and the new boss there did not like him and kept on harassing him and work harassment, all kinds of stuff. And then finally, after so many months of complaints and so many months of this individual harassing my father, the boss finally got their way and was able to let go of um, my dad. Um, Despite the owners liking my dad very much, they just got tired of everything and said, "You have to go. Sorry." And because of my dad being the old man, grumpy man that he is sometimes, he said some things. I won't say what he said, but he was severe enough to where it got us kicked out of the park. Um, where now, because of him, we are in between homes. We will be moving into an apartment on the 10th, but because of what he said, it got us kicked out of the park. And so now we are in between places. I'm in a hotel right now, but because of the situation that I'm in, because of him, I will no longer be relying on him as much. I mean, granted, I shouldn't be relying on him, but because of situations being what they are, I had no choice but to rely on him. But now, because I got my CDL, a truck driving job will pay a lot more than what I was doing prior. And so I'll be able to get a place of my own eventually, and I'll be able to support the things I want to do, which is content creation, until I can get to a point where I can quit the driving job and I don't have to worry about it no more and rely solely on content creation. I am currently in the works of possibly getting hired to do audiobook editing, which could help immensely on income. So I'm hoping I get that. But right now, times are hard, and so we are in between homes. I'm in a hotel. We don't get to move into our place until the soonest is the 7th, but the latest is the 10th of February. Now, that's not the end of everything. The hard part, which is where I might break down, I will try hard not to. But in between all this going on and moving and trying to pack up things and trying to get things organized and putting things in storage units and just all that kind of stuff, between everything going on, between the car accident and stuff, my mom was getting very sick. When I say very sick, she was severely nutritious, so she was losing weight, and it was getting to a point where she was just skin and bones, and she was getting very sick to the point where she had to get her gallbladder removed, and then all of a sudden she was looking like she was looking like and sounding like she was getting better, and then all of a sudden I get this message from my aunt saying that, hey, your mom is being sent to the hospital. She is being flown by helicopter to your location, and and she should be there at that time that she messaged me. So of course, she's my mom. I had to stop doing what I was doing, packing up stuff and trying to get things going, and I went directly to the hospital. Well, when I got to the hospital, she did not look good. She looked awful. Um, this was on Wednesday, 2 weeks ago. Well, 2 weeks ago from the time of me recording this message or this video. And it is actually currently, it just hit February 1st. So 2 weeks ago, I mean, I don't know why I'm giving dates. I don't know. I don't really care at this point. But January 15th is when she went into and flown by helicopter to the hospital of where I'm at. And so I went in there closer to midnight and held her hand and spent time with her. But when she was there, she was in a whole lot of pain. She wasn't very coherent at all. She kept on trying to get up and go to the bathroom a lot and couldn't go. Just there was a lot of physical health issues with her at that time when she was in the hospital. There was only one time, I think it was actually that night when she was flown to the hospital, where she opened her eyes and she took a glance at me like she was briefly excited to see me. Now, when I tell you that she looked at me with her eyes did not look like they were good. The eyes looked like they were a dying person's eyes, essentially. And in case you don't know what that looks like, they don't look like they have color in their eyes. They look very pale, very old. I mean, the person, my mom, was old, but so she did not look good, but she was able to at least see me briefly and said, "Hey," almost like she was trying to be excited but couldn't be. And then the next, I held her hand for a brief moment. They were able to calm her down a little bit. She was able to sleep a little bit, and then so I left because there was nothing I could do at that point. She was resting. Left, came back the next day, Thursday. She still didn't look good. She was going downhill fast at that point. And she was in a lot of pain. not much could be done other than just trying to comfort her. I had to sign because I was next line in kin. Her husband had died about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I was the next person in line to make a really hard decision. And so I didn't want her to suffer if she was going to continue to suffer. I didn't want her to be connected to tubes and all that junk. And so I decided to sign a DNR, which basically, in case you don't know what a DNR is, it's basically um, it means do not resuscitate, meaning let nature take its course. Do not put tubes down the throat. Do not try to shock her if she was dying or whatever. Just let nature take action and take its course, which it did. She she was falling downhill. I was notified by the doctor that her liver was failing, her kidneys was failing, and just she was falling downhill. She went at the time of her being admitted to the hospital and flown. She was at 50% kidney functioning, which you can live on 50%. The next day when I got there, and keep in mind that she had arrived at the hospital Wednesday night, going into Thursday, so she was there closer to midnight. When I got there, I was informed that her kidney functioning went from 50 to 30%. So now at that point, it was to a point where now, what do we do? Do we do surgery? What do we do? Because she was so skinny and so frail and so fragile, they had suggested that they don't do surgery because if she did get surgery and it was successful, it would permanently damage her, just the surgery alone, because of how skinny and frail she was. And she would just be in a lot of pain constantly until her body just gave out at one point. So I told him, no, we're just not do surgery. It just wouldn't do. It wouldn't. There wouldn't be no point. If it's going to cause her much pain and suffering, if she were to survive it, I don't want that to happen to her. So we were just seeing what would happen in hopes that she can recover from this. And all we can do is comfort her and provide her with the necessary medications to comfort her, and so she would be in less pain. So that's what we were doing throughout the entire day. I spent time with her, held her hand, told her that I know that you don't want to go, because she wasn't ready to pass. She had verbally said that she's not ready to die. But unfortunately, mentally, you may not be ready to die, but your body says otherwise. If your body is not ready, if your body is ready to go, if your body is ready to die, then it will do what it needs to make sure that you pass, especially if you're not doing well. So I told her, Mom, I know you're not ready to go, but if you're hurting too much, if you're hurting a lot, I will understand if you need to go and be with your parents, be with your husband, be with your animals that you had in the past. And I will be okay. It will be hard. I will be okay. And that was one of the hardest things I had to say to my mom. Now, granted, I'm going to say this right now before I continue this conversation. Our relationship between my mom and I wasn't all that great. It was improving, but it wasn't all that great. It was kind of like where it was at. I don't think there was going to be much more to improve upon. It was going to be the way it was. And because of the situation that I was in, because of the situation that she was in, it was very difficult to be able to continue to improve on the relationship. Because I'm going to be honest with you, prior to all this happening, she didn't treat her body very well. She, throughout my entire life of growing up, was on drugs. She was on meth. She was on marijuana. She was on all kinds of stuff. She was selling stuff. Like, she did not treat her body very well. She would constantly ask me to pee for her to get around drug tests when I was growing up. There's just a lot of things between her and I. As I got older, I understood that she would never change and she would be who she was. And so it was very difficult for me to want to continue to be with her or help her or be part of her life. And growing up throughout my 20s, it was really hard to want to be with her or talk to her. Each time I tried to talk to her and get to know her more or just talk to her, I would cry and tear up due to my past with her. And so I had to take a break and create boundaries and work on myself to be able to improve on whatever relationship that we can improve upon. So I did talk to her for a while, and then eventually it got to a point where I could talk to her, not cry, not tear up, and so that was good. We saw each other a couple times here and there, but mainly we just talk on the phone and just have conversations over the phone. They wouldn't be very long conversations. It'd be more like, "How are you? How are you? Good. My life is this. My life is that. She's doing this. She's doing that," and that'd be about it. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Halloween, Happy birthday, stuff like that. But like sometimes it'll go on for months before we talk to each other. Um, and I would constantly try to reach out to her, and it would be very hard to get a hold of her because she wouldn't answer the phone. But there were times when she did answer the phone. There would be times when she did call me back, which is nice. But I think at that point our relationship was going to be kind of just what it was, and talking on the phone and stuff. I couldn't go see her because each time I did, she was actually living with her. She was living with her sister at their parents' house because their parents passed on their home to their kids. And when their kids pass, which is my mom, her sister, and her brother, when they pass, and that house would be passed on to me and their kids. So we would have to divvy up the house in three quarters between all three of us. So yeah, but I couldn't go to the house because of the way the house looked. Her sister does drugs and meth and all that kinds of stuff, and so the house was just a meth house, and it just was not a very good situation. And so the house looked like a mess. The house was lived in like it was just bad. It was a bad environment. I just couldn't see it. It was really hard on me. So the best that I could do to be able to stay connected with my mom as much as I could was to talk to her on the phone, and that was basically the result of it. Um, so back to where I was at on Thursday, I spent time with her as much as I possibly could, then left, and then I was given a call around 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, saying she's actively dying, and that if you want to come see her, you better come see her now before she passes. So I did, and went to go see her, held her hand, and essentially right around 8:45 a.m. my time, she had passed. Um, it was one of the most hardest things I had to see. One of the hardest things I had to go through. Um, I mean, my mom passed, and it was hard, and it's hard to believe that she's been gone now for 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks in a day. And right in the middle of moving, right in the middle, it's just everything was going on. So like whenever she needed me during the time that she was around, I would be there, or at least try to be there for her. But I mean, it's just been very hard. And then since her passing, I had to take care of her um, services, had to help with um, funeral stuff, which we had to make sure, we had to decide if she was going to be cremated or have a service. We decided to cremate her because that's what she wanted. And we did provide some sort of service, more like a celebration of her life. And that's that. I was able to get her arbitrary done, her services done, and her urn, which is what she's in now. Um, hold on. This is what she's in. I don't know if you can see it. This is my mom now, and this is, she loved hummingbirds. So she loved hummingbirds mainly because, well, she was always someone who took care of the hummingbirds. So hold on. I'm going to put you down, Mom. Hold on. So back during my high school days, we were living on a ranch, and on that ranch, she took care of a lot of hummingbirds. It was actually one of her favorite things, and she did all the way up until her passing. And so we came to the agreement that we saw this urn here, and we thought of her, and I was very happy that we were able to choose that. So I'm currently going through a lot. I've not really had a whole lot of time to grieve. It hit me a lot harder than I thought it would, despite everything between us. I bawled out of my mind. I was in and out of the hospital the first few days that she had passed. I wasn't doing good, and I'm still not. I'm still grieving. I'm still going through it a lot. Um, and there's a lot I want to talk about just with that relationship alone, and with her passing and everything. And I might make that a separate video from this, because I want people to know that they're not alone, and if they're going through grieving or relationship issues or just anything, I'd like to be the person that people can come to or talk to or whatever. Um, it's not easy. It's not easy. And um, so I've been going through a lot. And so that's kind of why I haven't been really posting a whole lot of videos, streaming, whatever. So I apologize. Now, going forward, it is a new month, and we can put that month behind us as much as we can, or I can. Going forward, my goals are going to be a bit different. I'm going to try to make it as much as I can. My goal is going forward. Okay. Between now and then, I will try to make some videos. Obviously, this will be a video. I'm going to separate some stuff. And then sometime between the 7th and the 10th, I'll be moving into my new apartment. And then from the 10th on, at least from the 10th until the end of this month, I will try to make as many videos as I can. No promises, but I'm going to try to do the best I can. My goal is maybe one video a week, maybe two at most. And then I will be working on trying to move at least one last time for a while, and that will be to a different state with the new job that I'm looking at getting. A couple new jobs I'm getting, hoping that the book editing job I get, and then also the CDL job. The CDL job will support me in my future and me getting a place of my own. My personal goal is me making sure that I move into my place where I want to be. I'd like to be sometime beginning of spring, but beginning of spring is like next month. So I want to try to set up a more realistic goal, and that is maybe the middle of spring, so April or May. I want to be where I want to be, and then kind of going after my actual goal, which is voice acting, more audiobook editing or audio editing for different companies, and really going ham on content creation. Between now and then, though, it's going to be kind of sporadic and kind of up in the air, just because of everything that's been going on. I'm currently going to therapy, trying to um, work on realizing that I only have one parent left, and and that eventually I will end up losing him, and kind of going through the fact that I just lost my mother, and that becoming a reality. So I am very sorry for the lack of content as I've been going through a lot. But I will try my best. If you want, you can catch me live on Twitch .tv/Kingdomchaun. I will try to make it live this Saturday. I can't guarantee how long, but maybe a couple hours. Just to kind of catch up with people, say hi, and maybe play a game or two, just chit chat. I don't know. So the next uploads I will be uploading, talking about more about this and more about um, loss and more about relationships or mending relationships, because at some point you will be losing those people and you can't get them back once they're gone. But also, I want to upload a couple of videos on my reactions towards anime, because I've been wanting to watch an anime, but I've been kind of stalling and waiting for a good time to do that. But maybe I'll do that today. I don't know. Feeling kind of tired and worn out after everything, and I just kind of need a break. Right now, I'm alone in my hotel, so I'm kind of taking advantage of that while I still can. So again, apologies. Thank you guys so much for understanding, and be looking forward to the next video. Okay, y'all. Until then, take care. Be kind to one another. Love one another. If you can, stay connected as long as you can. Until then, peace. Until then, y'all take care. Peace.